Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we have another collection update. I know you guys like these, especially in these times when we are just stuck at home and watching videos. It is April of 2020. A lot of us are in lockdown, so let's just get to it. Why I chose the Wii and Civivi collection. As you can see, I don't have a whole ton of them. Not that many, really. Only 6. You can see here 2 actual Wiis and 4 Civivis. If you don't know, Civivi is Wii's budget line. Wii is an amazing company, super high quality. They are taking the world by storm if they haven't already taken it, especially like in the Wii production stuff. Well, they're all made in the same factory, but the Wii production factory, not only do they make great stuff themselves, but if you are looking at a knife from another manufacturer, like another guy who normally does customs, but he's doing a limited run, you know, say like, just trying to think a couple come to mind, like Boots Blades, you know, companies like that. It's almost easier to list the ones that are not made by Wii than the ones that are made by Wii. And there's good reason for that. Their production quality is amazing. I know that if I was doing a collaboration, if I ever got off my butt and tried to design a knife, had somebody helping with a CAD and all that stuff, Wii's who I'd go to. They just do great work. They're fairly unobtrusive to designers. They let them keep the features that they want. They can do almost anything. And it's just a really, really great company as far as that goes. Their production abilities are awesome, as you can see by what's laid out here before you. Especially one of these is pretty unique, and they pulled it off perfectly. Why do I only have 6? Because I do love the company, I do love their products, but the reason why there's only 6 here is when it comes to the Wiis, I've had a lot, and there are 2 that I very, very, very much miss. My Wii Wasabi, that was an amazing knife. I got one of the limited, like, first production ones. I was kind of hinted at that they would go into production, so I sold my pre-production, my limited production one, planning on just getting the regular production one when it came out. Well, that never happened, so now I just don't have it. That was awesome. Big old Brzezinski design. I think it was Brzezinski. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right or remembering it right. Warncliffe, big old knife. Awesome, awesome thing. And I had another one I miss a lot. I had a Ferrum Forge design Malice with a flame ammo. That was super, super cool. Not really sure why I let that go, but that was a stupid. But I don't keep a lot of the Wiis because I love a lot of their designs initially, have them in hand, but they just don't have that soul that makes them stick around. These 2 definitely do. It's an unquantifiable thing. But that's why I don't usually wind up keeping them. I don't have a real emotional attachment to many of them, I guess is the best way to put it. Now, there's very few I've developed that emotional attachment with. Now, in the Civivis, I try and get almost every single one because it is the hottest production, budget production company right now, budget brand in the world right now, and they make some amazing stuff. So I do try and get them very, very quickly when they come out, to make sure I get the reviews up really fast for you guys, because I know that everybody's always jumping on them, and whenever a new Civivi model comes out, it usually sells out pretty quick initially. It comes back, but it always sells out pretty quickly on that initial run. So I try and get those out, but these are the 4 that have stuck around. There are still a couple I missed that I regret selling, though. I had an Elementum, I should not have sold that, and I had a Duras that I really liked those. Those are the 2 that come to mind. I'm sure there's more, but those are the 2 that come to mind that I really loved, that I really wished I would have kept around. But I don't have them, so let's just go with the 6 that I got here. We'll talk a bit about each individual knife and why it's in my collection. So, and these are all pretty permanent. If they make the collection videos, they're pretty permanent. I have 0 plans to sell any of these. So first up, we have the Wii Knives MRF. This is a Marcus Reichert design, and it is very, very, very unique. It's a pretty big knife, as you can see. It's a full 3.5-inch blade, and it's kind of a slip joint. They call it a slip joint everywhere, but Marcus Reichert, very thankful for this. He commented on my review and corrected, because I called it a slip joint, because that's what everybody else calls it. It's not technically a slip joint. It's actually a very unique lock. It's an old French design called a cran forcé. I hope my pretentious French accent is correct. Cran forcé. But basically, he explained it. It's really more like a lockback, but it doesn't need the lock. So it explains why it has a very stiff, walk and talk on it, or detent, whatever you want to call for it. This is a very, very safe, technically non-locking knife. It's going to be legal lots of places. check your laws as far as the blade length goes, but it is technically not a locking knife, but man, it locks. Listen to that. Now, I will say, for me, this is two-hand open, two-hand close. There is a half stop. If you're a brave person, you can one-hand it. I am not that brave person. So this initial lock is so stiff, I don't trust it just to blow past that half stop and chop my finger. So I don't do that with it. But I do love the knife. One-hand opened or two-hand open or whatever. Grand Force or slip joint, whatever you want to call it. It's just a great knife. Just such a simple design. Comes in a few different versions, 175 bucks. And this is the shredded carbon, I believe, or maybe it's the marble. I don't remember now, but it's just a beautiful thing. I love this very simple blade shape, very simple handle shape. Ergonomics are amazing. Nice deep carry clip. It's kind of like a gentleman's knife that means business, if that makes any sense. You can carry this in any situation. It's not going to intimidate anybody. It's a bit large, but it's just such a simple, normal kind of knife shape that people are used to. And with that deep carry clip, it's very discreet. And I just really, really love this thing. It's one of my favorite knives that I own. It's just super slicey. We in Civivi, all these, always very thin behind the edge, very good slicers, the kind of stuff that I like. And I just love this very simple drop point blade shape. It's just a great knife. Good job, Marcus. I hope to see more. Primarily used to be a fixed blade guy, and this is the first folder he made, so that's pretty cool. Next up is the Kite Fin, a very new design. This is an in-house we design. It's not a collaboration with anybody. And man, they knocked it out of the park with this thing. 157 bucks is pretty cheap for a Wii. A lot of Wiis are well over $200. So the MRF also fairly cheap for a Wii. But just look at that carbon. That is gorgeous. One of my other reviewer friends, who shall not be named, actually said, he probably may have said it in his video, but he said it to me in private, so I'm not going to say his name, but said his Gareth Bull Chamois has carbon that isn't any better than that. It's just beautiful carbon. You can get them in a bunch of different versions. There's a bunch of various full tie ones. This is the carbon with the black on the titanium lock side. I like the little holes with the little bronzing in them. That's so cool. All the screws are bronzed. It's just a beautiful knife and super slicey blade. It is definitely inspired by one we'll talk about last here. I'm kind of going by descending price. This is the backlash. You can see kind of inspired by that. No problem there. I love the backlash, so no problem there. 157 bucks. It is basically a very fancy a very fancy, slightly smaller backlash, and that is completely fine with me. S35 VN steel. That's the same steel you got on the MRF, by the way. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Very lightweight. Just an absolute pleasure to carry. I mean, this is a true absolute lightweight, and it's just a great knife to carry, and the action is fantastic, as you'd expect on always. They always have such great detents and just very smooth. Everything is on ceramic bearings and ceramic detent, even on the budget stuff we'll get to here in a minute. But the Kite Fin is just an amazing knife, and they are still widely available, so go grab you one of these. These are super cool. Next up would be the McKenna. This is a Civivi. We're getting into the Civivis now. This is an Elijah Isham design, and I like having at least one Elijah Isham design around. I really like Elijah a lot. He's a very nice guy, and I really enjoy hanging out with him when we get the chance to. This is the Damascus version. These were 90 bucks, but the regular versions are, I think, 65. Somebody correct me down below if I'm wrong on that, but I think they're about 65. This is the first of two that have what we call Mascis. They don't really talk about what's in their Damascus, but I guess they did finally admit that it is mostly 9CR 18 MOV, which is a great steel that only Civivi uses. To my knowledge, I haven't seen anybody else who's really using it. It is not remotely related to 8CR 13. It's so much better than that. It's a really good steel. It's easy to sharpen. It holds a really good edge, and I really like it. And this is just prettier. I love that pattern. It looks cool. I do kind of wish they'd gone one step farther and made the McKenna with this blade steel and a little bit nicer scales. These are just black G10, black liner lock, which is okay, but if I have one downside to this, I just wish it looked even prettier. But it's a front flipper, and a very easy front flipper to use. If you are looking for your first front flipper to kind of get used to it, you can't go wrong with the McKenna. You cannot, finger flick it or anything with this little eye hole. I call it the Isham hole, the eye hole. It's not. This is just decorative. There's no way you're going to get your finger in there. It just ain't going to happen. Even my skinny little digits can't get in there. So, yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful little knife, and so much fun to play with. And again, that perfect detent. It's just, you can't get an easier front flipper than this. You just can't. Next up, one that I did not expect to keep. Like I said, a lot of Civivis I get in to review them quickly because I know you guys want it, and I plan on getting rid of them immediately. But this one was one I thought was going to be in that category, and it isn't. It is the Asticus, which we are still not making jokes about the silly name, even though I kind of just did. But very big knife. I think, 3.8-inch blade, something like that. Again, this is the Mascis. This is the fancy one, which is only like $76. The regular ones are 50-something, and I just really like the look of it. It does have, carbon fiber laminate on it, which isn't as pretty, but it's not a bad finish on it. It doesn't have that super shiny finish that some of these do that make them look a little cheap. I mean, the weave looks like, cheaper carbon, but the texture doesn't look like it, and it's got that beautiful Mascis again, so that mostly 9CR blade steel that I like a whole lot, and just a really nice knife. I find myself carrying this a lot more than I thought I would. Maybe that's partly because I'm getting into bigger knives lately, but this is still really slim in the pocket. It doesn't feel as big as it is in your pocket, and it's just a gorgeous thing when you take it out. It's just a pleasure to look at, pleasure to use. Again, super slicey hollow ground blade. It's just an absolute slicing machine. Ergos work pretty good for me. They're not perfect, but they work pretty good. And you can choke up on it and all that stuff. I do really, really love the Asticus. I don't know, that's going to become a meme or something. But it's just a beautiful, amazing, wonderful knife with an unfortunate name. But other than that, it's just an amazing knife. Next up, we go from a knife with an unfortunate name to, I'm going to say, the most appropriately named knife in my collection. Civivi doesn't always do great with the names. You have the Asticus, they have the Nar, which, that also was a great knife I do miss from The Nar is an awesome knife. You just have to not giggle when you say it, but that was a great knife. I wouldn't mind getting one of those back now that I'm talking myself into getting another Nar. I'm just memeing myself here today. We have the Civivi Shredder. Very appropriately named knife. Super thin behind the edge, D2 steel, hollow ground, big old knife. And yeah, if you want to go attack some cardboard, this is your boy. This is a shredder of cardboard or whatever else you want to put in front of it. It's just super slicey. One of the sliciest knives that I own. Still pretty thin blade stock. And again, another very reasonably priced knife. I think these are like in the 60-something range. It's just nice deep carry clip, as you always expect from and again, just that awesome action. And you can spidey flick it, you can thumb flick it, all those cool things, and just a great knife. I love the Shredder. Actually, I got one of these, and this is not the one I reviewed. I'm going to link to all the reviews these down below. This is not the one I reviewed. I got one into review, and I liked it so much I went out and bought myself one. I had a loaner, so I did not have to buy it. I'd already done the review, but I went out and got another one because it's just, I really like having it around. Like I said, it is a destroyer of all things, and I do like that a lot. And it's not expensive, so I don't mind going out and hacking at a bunch of cardboard and potentially scratching the blade over. Who cares? It's not an expensive knife. I just love this thing. Fantastic knife. And lastly, we have one that, like I said, two of these are kind of based on, I already showed you the kite fin, but the Shredder is also just kind of a larger backlash with a deployment hole in it. Again, no problem with that. This is the original Civivi backlash, the 9CR18 MOV with the G10 scales and the blue liners. I got one of these when they very, very first came out. It was one of the first models that Civivi came out with, and it's never left other than to be loaned to a few people. I just really love so much about it. The ergos are awesome. The jimping's awesome. I really like that blade steel. The action is just ridiculous. Nice deep carry clip. They've come out with a lot of versions now. You can get the, Mascis. They had one of those for a while. I don't know if those are still available. You can get a piano wood handle one with all black liners. There's just a whole bunch of different versions of it now, which are awesome. I know Drop had an exclusive color and stuff. They come in a few different colors regularly as well. And really at $42.50, I still feel like this is kind of the standard by which all other modern budget knives are judged. I really feel that way. It's just a fantastic knife. I love the 9CR. It's not 8CR. Some people still turn their nose at that. Just got somebody messaged me on Instagram the other day saying, isn't 9CR just the same thing as 8CR? No, it isn't. It's much, much different. But the Backlash, destined to be an all-time classic in my opinion. I just think, honestly, like I said, I think it's the best budget knife you can buy right now for $42.50. I don't think you can do better than a Backlash. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I'll be doing some more of these later. I'm going to do a ZT Kershaw one shortly, which is going to be slightly longer than this because I have a lot of Kershaws. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.